Hello, folks, and welcome to this edition of Gorgeous Digital Network News. Today we'll be going over the January 6th hearings, day one in particular. We're going to do an 8-part series of every day they have a hearing. We'll have another episode. I know we're behind now, but we're going to get caught back up and we'll have a new one for you as new hearings come out. Now, they covered a lot on day one. Chairman Thompson started day one with talking about the importance of the oath any government employee gives. This oath is to the Constitution and not any one person. And that's basically what he wanted to stress in the beginning here. He also made a point to talk about how many years presidents have been passing on power. The peaceful transfer of power is a term that comes up a lot. And it's been 220 years where every president, has submitted to a peaceful transfer of power, which this is a miracle. This is a delicate thing that is unique to America. They showed some footage of Trump's original Attorney General, Bill Barr. He had testified to the committee, and he had told Trump that his election fraud claims were completely baseless. And to quote him, he said they were bullshit. Chairman Thompson then talked about how Trump had his day in court. There is ways to, if you think that there is fraud in an election, there is ways to go about it. And Trump had his day in court. He had over 60 cases go in, and all of them came back as this is nonsense, basically. One Judge Carter even said that these are all nonsense. And I think Giuliani ended up getting disbarred and can no longer practice law because of it. Thompson then gave the floor to Liz Cheney. Cheney stated that the committee plans to show Trump had a 7-part plan to overturn the election. Cheney also brought up the 6 White House staffers that threatened to resign because of the president's actions. The committee showed several of Trump's tweets, especially the ones that he tweeted on January 6th. And they showed the one that actually said, we're going to be there January 6th. It'll be wild, which, empowered his supporters to show up that day and to try and take the Capitol. The tweet was sent immediately after Trump had a secret meeting with General Flynn, Sidney Powell, Rudy Giuliani, and the Overstock.com's guy. And then immediately after that is when the January 6th date came up. That's when they're trying to insinuate that at that meeting, that was where Trump decided to have his followers show up to the Capitol that day. They had Pat Cipollone come on and say how he had told the president that the allegations of fraud were false. They even showed footage of Ivanka Trump saying that she respected Bill Barr and that her perception was changed when he said that it was all bullshit. Ms. Cheney also wanted everyone to hear the word of Judge Carter. Judge Carter stated that Trump had violated at least 2 laws in the cases brought to the courts about the fraud. And again, Giuliani ended up being disbarred for it. They showed footage of Trump giving his speech on January 6th and then showed footage of the rioters. And they broke it down in kind of a timeline where they'd go, 12:05, president says Pence can change the outcome. If Pence will just be brave and do what we want, then we can have the election or whatever. And then they showed at 12:45, after Trump tells his supporters to march down Pennsylvania Avenue to the Capitol. At 12:45, the Proud Boys breach the peace circle, and then 1 minute later, the police are calling for backup. And then at the west end of the White House, it is breached around that same time. The joint session to certify the election started at 1 p.m. At 1:37, the protest was officially labeled a riot. And then at 1:55, the East Plaza was breached. At 2:13, they have footage of rioter Dominique Perezzo breaching the Capitol window, and they show the footage of the guy. He looks like he's stolen a shield from one of the riot police and is bashing in the window. And once he bashes in that window, that's when they get into the Capitol, and everyone just starts flooding into the Capitol itself instead of just the outside perimeter. The footage showed Dominic Perezzo break the window. They then showed Proud Boy leader Joe Biggs entering the building at 2:14, so 1 minute later. At 2:18, the joint session went into recess as the crowd chants, "Hang Mike Pence, hang Mike Pence." This was brought about by another tweet from Trump saying that Pence had let him down and didn't send the votes back to the states. The committee explained that Mike Pence had no power to do such a thing. The president had taken this one sentence from the Constitution that was procedural, where the vice president has to actually take the votes and hand them off. And he was saying that if vice president didn't actually hand the votes from one person to another, then they could say that they weren't certified or whatever. But Mike Pence was like, this is ridiculous. It's my duty to do this. And he went ahead and did it. Now, at 2:28, the Senate decided to evacuate, and they showed footage of how close the rioters actually came to the Senate, like within feet of some of the senators. At 2:55, the crypt was breached, and the rioters are just basically filling up the Capitol at this point. They showed several videos of the rioters fighting with police. Then you could hear police like crying out for help and being dragged out of the riot by their fellow officers and whatnot. But they were completely overrun. At 2:29, the footage shows the Oath Keepers enter the building in a military-style stacked formation. And then, again, there's also footage of them entering from the west end and the east end. We also heard a kind of harrowing tale of the day from one of the officers that was there, Officer Edwards. She witnessed the first breach. Actually, when they were first coming through the bike racks, she was holding on to one of the bike racks and getting shaken back and forth by people trying to force their way through. And she fell and hit her head on the concrete and knocked herself unconscious. When she regained consciousness, she joined back in. She came back into the melee, and she saw one of her fellow officers go down right as she got pepper sprayed. And then they all had to move back because they were being tear gassed. The officer she saw go down actually died that day. They also brought a documentary filmmaker to the stand who was actually doing a documentary on the Proud Boys at the time. And he testified that the Proud Boys had a meeting with the Oath Keepers the night before. And the Department of Justice has actually found out that the Proud Boys have stashes of weapons in Virginia and outside Washington just to be ready for, this insurgents. And the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers leaders had met in a parking garage the night before. They showed up at 10:30 at the Capitol long before Trump asked anybody to march down there. There were several hundred Proud Boys there when the protesters or Trump's followers started to arrive after the speech. and the several hundred Proud Boys, and then also some Proud Boys from Alabama, who are the guys. If you watch the videos, you can see they have the orange hats on. Those are the Alabama Proud Boys. And yeah, so all the Proud Boys from all over the country met together, and they're the first ones kind of to breach through that initial row of bike racks and police. But yeah, that was the basic first hearing. They said they're going to go over some of the other things that Trump did prior to the riots. They said that he sent fake electors to try and get them certified, like that voted for Trump in states that were Biden had won. And then he also was talking about getting the military to start seizing voting machines. And apparently 7 parts of this plan that involve John Eastman. They involve people resigning from the Department of Justice. I think he had 2 attorney generals, but almost had 3. He almost fired the second guy and replaced him with an environmental lawyer who nobody would have worked for. They said that if that guy had taken place, most of them would have resigned. So that is basically a recap of day 1. This is our first news post, so if you like it, please let us know. And yeah, thank you for listening. Again, that's the Gorgeous Digital News Network. Follow us on YouTube. Click below, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Check out other fun videos coming out from the Gorgeous Digital Network soon.